Call this meeting to order, the regularly scheduled council meeting for July 21st, 2026, for the city of Medfield Lake. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. We will call the roll call again. Councilmember Fisher.
President.
Councilmember Bria. Present. Councilmember Spears.
Present.
Councilmember Wilbur.
Present.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Here.
Councilmember Olson.
Present.
Councilmember Carbolt has asked to be excused for vacation day. I entertain a motion.
So move. Second.
Second by Mr. Spears. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, excused for the 7/21 meeting. I hope he's having a nice time. Looking for then approval of the agenda. I want to make one statement and then if the council has any changes. In regard to the fireworks amendments on page 3, I'm going to read through when we get to that. We'll talk about what was presented tonight, but I was on vacation and Sunny was on vacation. And so we did not meet with legal nor the sheriff's office. And so we are not ready to have a full discussion, but we're here, public comment for sure. And we'll have some statements to make. But I think that we'll probably be continuing that discussion when we can have some more information. Anything else you want to say to that? Okay. So I think that's what we'll do tonight. But this definitely gets the conversation started. Other than that, just small notice. And I think, was there another addition? Did I see the transportation master plan? Was there anything else to add to the agenda, or that's just for information?
That was just the slideshow. I
Okay.
give you a copy of that.
Okay, very good. I'll entertain a motion then to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or conversation there? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Moving forward then, opportunity for entrance and citizen comment. So there's an opportunity now to make a 3-minute comment. You'll come up to the podium, state your name, and if you're a Medfield Lake resident, or your address. And then you'll have 3 minutes. We'll also have another opportunity at the end of the meeting. So if you hear something of interest during the meeting and you think, gee, I think I want to comment on that too, you'll have another opportunity. So we do allow 2 per meeting. So I have Mr. Art Colbert has signed in, and then I'll call for anyone from the public next.
Art Boulevard, 405 Fellows. I was at the last council meeting and I spoke on the fireworks, and my opening statement was the band came too late. It's amazing how many people don't follow social media or watch the news. Now, I did a summary after the meeting of what happened during the council meeting, and I had over, I think it was 59 comments back. And some of them one of them surprised me because the person actually thought the ban allowed them outside of the time frame. And there was comments that somebody blasted them off on the 2nd. Well, he thought it was okay. I also made a comment that the state allows us to do fireworks on New Year's. And I had a number of people contact me and say, that's a good idea. It's definitely a lot safer than the 4th of July for the next coming years. Another thing I looked at I had too many emojis to count, but there were only 5 what I would say hostile emojis. So if there was 59 comments, that's less than 10%. So I thought that was pretty good. Anyway, if we're going to do some changes, a lot of the problem and comments last meeting was that we should shrink the purchase days. It probably won't make any difference because there's other places they can buy them outside the city limits. And I really think a lot of the fireworks are coming from the reservation. So limiting the sales, yeah, it might help a little bit, but I think there's at least the 10% are gonna blast them off no matter what the law says. And again, anytime there's a law that can't be enforced, I say that's not a good law. But so anyway, I'm thinking we could alter the ordinance to allow on New Year's. And that would solve two issues.
Possibly. Thank you so much. Anyone in the audience that would like to comment? This is your opportunity. Like I said, you'll have another chance at the end. And anyone online that would like to participate with a public comment at this time. Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, you'll have another chance. Thank you so much. Moving on then to the announcements, proclamations, and special presentations. We don't have any. We'll move on into our reports. Looking for a public safety report. And I always forget the EMO, so I think maybe it's the sheriff's turn to go first this time. So welcome and thank you for being here tonight. And we do have a written report from you, it looks like, so thank you for providing that.
You are most welcome. My name is Mark Benner. I'm a lieutenant with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. Thanks for having me this evening. I don't really have a tremendous amount to report on. If you guys have any questions, from a crime statistics standpoint, we're pretty much on course with previous years. The only thing that's up currently is malicious mischief. And I honestly couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I don't know what those incidents entailed. But malicious mischief is like the intentional damage of somebody else's property. So there's 2 more than there were previously. So that's the only spec to report on. The unattended death, there was a press release on it. It's still being investigated. There's not a known threat that poses your community or anybody. I believe high probability that it was just an unfortunate accident. The ongoing fires that happened on Ben Apple, there was surveillance, some interviews, some good interviewing afterwards. We caught the arsonist and she is in custody. I believe currently still in custody. So that should hopefully curtail. We won't have any issues with that.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. If there are any questions.
Any questions, council, for law enforcement? So
Sorry, there was one more thing I was supposed to add. There was a question about the amount of calls generated between the city and the state facilities. And as of second quarter 2026, 99 calls that law enforcement responded to were at the state facility, 386 were within the city limits.
okay,
Private party citizen calls.
yeah, thank you so much. Yes,
Do you have any kind of, and I'm not pinning you down at all, any kind of time frame where we would expect some report or something back about the unattended death?
Until they're done doing their investigation, but it's major crimes. The individual, to my knowledge, was not, I don't know that they weren't, they were from Kenya, as I recall. And I think that there are some familial gaps that have to be closed before there's going to be another release.
Maybe months.
I don't think it'll be that long, but it could be about.
Okay.
it's hard to say, depends on the.
He was not a resident of the city of Medical Lake, no. He was a renter in the city of Spokane.
Thank you for that information. It is helpful. I did notice on the report where you've highlighted that there's the 2 state facilities there in red. And so we were, as you said, you did give us that stat, but it was 99 of the 386. And so that tracks pretty well with what we see. So anyway, thank you for providing that. And you're welcome to stay, but if you have business at hand, yeah, feel free
I'm gonna
to.
go down to the Moai Prairie Fire. I was called about that.
Thank you very
Check
much.
out any scope folks that are down there.
Thank
you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate the report. Chief Lerbach.
That's fine. I'm doing.
Welcome back to the state of Washington.
Thank you.
Good evening.
So we do have stats back from dispatch, but we just got those recently, so I haven't mined the June data, so should have that for you for the next council meeting. But as everybody's aware, it's fire season and it's here in full force, so I can speak to that a little bit. Nationally, we're at preparedness level 5, which is the highest preparedness level in the nation, which indicates that there's a significant resource commitment across the nation, in particular across the West right now. So if you followed, the Rocky Mountains, Colorado, Utah, very busy, very early. It's where I just came back from. Record conditions there, challenging conditions too. There's been 3 firefighters lost their lives north of Grand Junction, and then we lost a pilot on the Gold Mountain fire just out of Ridgeway. So really challenging year. And then the Chelan Hills fire here in Chelan that occurred over the holiday weekend, there was loss of life on that fire. And I think it's really just reflective of the conditions we're seeing out there. We talked about the setup going into June being really hot and dry, and that late spring rain you love to see the rain, but it really shot the grass up. And then we had 25% of normal precip in June. So the conditions are present. We're really geared up for what appears to be a very challenging wildland fire season. So 3 fires just today. The Malloy Prairie Fire was a good stop, 23 acres, and they just lowered evacuations on part of that fire. So we're trending in the right direction there, but those conditions are going to probably remain present through probably through the fall. So we see a season-ending event. So the message is just awareness for the community out there that some years 100% of our starts in Spokane County are human caused. And so anything we can do to prevent ignitions right now helps. There is also in the forecast some chance for additional lightning, but of the complex incident management teams that we have in Washington and Oregon, the same type that came for Gray Road Fire to support that, all of them were deployed in a single afternoon last Thursday following the lightning event, right? So all those resources are committed and on rotation now. What they'll do 2 weeks on, down for 7 and back out. And I think that rotation will just continue through the remainder of the summer for us. So really busy, a lot of focus on wildland right now. As far as I know, anecdotal, when I look at medical call volume, I think we're about average for city of Medicoag right now. So I'm guessing somewhere around the 60, but we'll get the actual data and have that available for the next meeting.
I appreciate that. Sorry for your loss of your teammates.
Thank you.
I know the impact is, severe, it hits close to home, and families that'll be touched. So our hearts go out to you and your team and to those families. And, thank you for all you do. Counselor, any questions for the chief? I'm sure that you have plenty to do. We have one question.
Just concerning the Malloy Prairie Fire, were there any buildings lost during that?
Yes, so 3, we believe 1 hay barn, 2 outbuildings at this time, and that we're still waiting final confirmation within that footprint. So there could be additional structures identified, but I think that would be highly unlikely at this point because it was a 23-acre footprint. So we were able to do our preliminary assessment, and that's what they found. No primary dwellings lost, 1 minor medical incident related to smoke exposure that they were treated and then released. So
Also, on a follow-up, you mentioned downstairs that you have free consultations. And would you like to expand on that just a bit? Give a number, please.
any opportunity we get. So our department offers free consultations for folks who want to do work on defensible space around their home. Oftentimes it can be overwhelming. Folks know they need to do something, but they don't even know where to start. And they're often focused further away from their home than what would be the highest rate of return on investment, which is typically that first 5 to 10 feet around the house. We know after a lot of studies that can really make a huge difference, just the little things in that first 5 feet. And so as a free service, we'll come out, consult with anybody inside our fire district boundary. And that's a service, it's all free, and tell folks, hey, this would be the most the most helpful. So
And do they contact then just Fire District 3? And
call our main office,
Okay,
235-6645, and we'll set that up. But we're always happy to come out and tell folks where to start. And then if there's additional work, we can connect them with other resources like Department of Natural Resources. There's some grant dollars available through their cost share program to do fuel removal, silvicultural debris in the forest and things. So there's a lot of tools out there and resources to help the community out. And I think I always talk about fire adapted communities because I think the goal, and it's a great goal, would be to eliminate all fires. But it's just simply not a reality. We average just in District 3, 75 to 150 wildland fires per year, just in our district, and it's looking like an above average year. And so while that's a great goal, I really think it's how do we become resilient in the face of wildfire, knowing that they're going to occur? And so how do we live in a fire adapted community where we account for ingress and egress, and we have our go bags ready, and we have phone trees, and we know we practice what we're going to do in the event of an emergency. We've done those things around the home to give it the best chance of being resilient under wildfire. And I think that's where we need to go as a community, knowing that eliminating all wildfire is not feasible.
Yeah.
Currently, and actually we're trending up with we have the largest wildland urban interface in the state of Washington that's wildfire prone. And we're putting more and more people into that urban interface. And we know that every year, over 95% of our fires are human caused. And so you put more people in this environment that we all live in and love. There's a reason we all live here and love our wild places, but that's also our primary cause is human cause. We put more people in that environment. And then on top of it, with the weather conditions we've talked about, seasons are longer, they're hotter, they're drier, extended drought, lack of snowpack, forest health is at levels we've never experienced before, given the stress and drought, all those things occurring simultaneously. So it's really time to prepare. So any opportunity, I love to tell folks ahead of time to prepare for an emergency before you have one.
Absolutely. Well, we will reach out and we'll get that information out on our Facebook and our newsletter too, on how to, maybe the links to I'm sure you have that, like, here's the 10 best things you can do right now, right? Or something, and then contact you to get the kind of one-on-one. So
Yeah, anything you guys can do to help amplify that message. We're always putting it out there, but there's still a lot of folks that don't know those resources are available.
correct. They don't ask until it's after the fact, right? And
When there's smoke in the air, folks are typically highly motivated.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes our ability to affect the outcome is extremely limited as far as like fuels reduction. We can go in and actively suppress the fire, but those things around the home, right? Whether it's arborvitaes or wood piles under decks, those things, right? It's not going to be practical to address those during that. But
we appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Wish you the best and safety out there. So we'll be in touch and get that information and try to help you communicate that out.
Thank you.
Any questions, any other thoughts or questions of council?
Would it be beneficial to stick around tonight?
You're sure welcome to, if you're able, that would be helpful. But if you need to go, and you call, just feel free. Okay,
Well, if you see me run out, you know what's going on.
I'll know what happened.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Welcome
Thanks so
home.
much. Yeah. Committee reports and, you have council comments, Councilor Pritchard.
So with Tony not here, I guess I'll report back, I think with the blessing of Ed, on general governments. Council, so there will be a legislative workshop, coming up, someday for a planning retreat in this is probably early June.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about things like fireworks and other things, at one of these workshops that we'll do. Public Works, you might have noticed that they're doing something to the road. I think they're trying to make it better to skateboard on. No, they're doing gravel way, which is awesome, and we're gonna have pretty new streets coming up. Everything's kind of focused on that right now because it looks like a lot of work, and there's great videos that the city has right now where they lay down a sticky glue, stay off the black stuff. on the street. And they put gravel down 3/4 inch, I believe, and then roll it. And it's quite the fascinating thing. And then a couple weeks after that, I'll clean it and then put a bog seal on it, and we'll have brand new sparkling streets everywhere. Drive slowly until that's done, please. Yeah, I saw a lot of rocks flying around today already.
Yeah.
FEMA generators are installed. Craig and Road Well and the Len Road Well both have testing fully operational generators, which is great because if there's a wildfire, they shut off the power and it's nice to have water. I think that's great. And then the Public Works and City Hall and wastewater treatment plant will all be getting their generators as well. I think we all know this stuff. Stormwater is coming along nicely, which I think is great. And the wells are pumping max right now. Please do not water during the day, right? We all know that's not good. Keep that water level up, especially because we did have this low snowpack this year. Groundwater levels in West Plains are not great right now. Wastewater treatment plant is just constantly repairing stuff. That leaky pipe over by Denny's that has the wetland area. It sounds like the permit is still usable from last time with the Army Corps and everybody else. So that's got to be awesome for Steve and his group. And they got that new float motor and the digesters ready. So it's all good. Everything's moving along there. I think tomorrow there is a PFAS task force meeting that I'll go to. And like that's not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you for the update.
Oh, sorry. One last thing. Steve and I are gonna run a geo walk on August 11th as well. It should be a hoot. I think I've got liquid nitrogen to do a volcano experiment. I love my trash kinos.
Find out for that. As long as there's no spark involved, I'm helping.
It's all water.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray Abbott.
No report at this time.
Councilmember Spears.
We had for STA reporting news, STA had a budget workshop about a week and a half ago. It's all online, so if anybody is interested in how the STA is handling the money that STA is custodian of, that's it's about an hour and a half. We're reorganizing the way that our capital line items are. So they went away from the one general fund model to actual line items for capital improvements. So that way everybody can understand a little easier. So it's gonna help us work our 10-year plan for Connect 2035 really well, I think. And then I had the opportunity to go to Detroit this last weekend for the transit board members training seminar through the American Transportation Association, or the Association of Public Transit Associations. Just a bunch of transit nerds. We get together and talk about procurement and disclosure policies, just like really hot button issues. Super fun. And it's super thrilling. And then we also talked in length about substantial cuts in public transit funding. So if anyone is motivated to contact your state or federal representatives and tell them that you would like them to vote in the reauthorization for, it's the IIJA, I forget what the acronym is, that has funding for a lot of transit, including Amtrak, and then the Surface Transit Authorization Bill. It's a transit, but different. Both of them fund all of these federal programs. So we can get, like bus rapid transit, bridges, ferries, the important things that we drive on or that we use if we don't have cars. So they're looking at slashing. Preliminary reports said that they're looking at slashing some of those budgets between 20 and 70%. So could impact us a lot. But like I said, write your representatives, write your congressmen, write your senators, and let them know that you'd like them to vote yes to reauthorize those funding needs.
Is there both state and federal funding attached to those dates, or is it all federal?
This is just the federal that we were talking about. It expires in the 1st of October. It's a 5-year plan. They've known for at least 5 years that it needs to be done. Still hasn't been done. So if they don't either pass a temporary reauthorization, an extension, first they just stop paying. So even if you have a current active project, just everything stops. Then they stop processing.
Why the concrete?
Now going east, but tractor.
Okay.
So they made an oopsie and they
Good, wasn't on them.
You'd hit everything. And respond accordingly. And Councilmember Pritchard mentioned expect there on Monday with the installation beginning. The Scrub Seal funding.
Everything in order. No report.
Councilmember Wall.
Here's my report's going to be short. Well.
I don't have. On vacation. You know, trying to get like that, so.
Very busy. And Parks. They're working on that. Grass on the shore. This project is designed to protect the shoreline. Fish.
for residents and visitors. So very excited that the hall and maintenance have been excited about. Commercial kitchen project. And focused on consultant on in without that initial deadline, but we are still project delivered as growth. And it helps reduce construction costs. And then a couple items. 5:30 PM here in council chamber. July 30th is the waterfront on and
being discharged. Well, is there, we had asked that before council. Um, but said we have not need to have either be a mix of the happy.
In for uh citizenry around New Year.
That is
New Year's would be choice.
correct minutes, I just didn't change.
Roxanne, right?
Those my.
Getting him back here.
Yeah.
Stand on Tony's shoulders.
She was not
I see.
mainstream electric.
Challenge, sir.
Where's my grandson when you're?
It's like putting from the floor. Could you?
He
was pretty tall. Where'd he go?
Taller person. Mr. Wilbur is tall, if somebody will.
I have
It's
one.
a human
We'll see.
ladder stabilization person.
Yeah.
I'll make sure he doesn't.
Thank you. Thank you for the translation.
Okay.
And everybody sees us.
You're the man.
Yes.
I knew I was elected for a reason.
Oh, and it might not even necessarily valid because you can't just bring every house up to code every. Like it's not.
It's too stable.
What's that?
Just too stable.
So should say stuff. They come back on. I mean, I'm worried.
You have to restart the computer to make it work.
Is there, yeah, there's a.
I see.
I don't see it.
She worked on that sales gas.
Might be able to get can those online hear us now? I saw a thumbs up. Okay, great.
Thank you.
We are going to go back on the record at 7:14 and resume our meeting. We're taking up the consent agenda, or yeah, the consent agenda, action item 7A. Approval of the July 7, 2026 minutes. It was noted that the date was wrong on page 5. So it said June 16th. So that's been changed to July 7 of 2026 to reflect the minutes from that meeting. Any other changes or amendments, corrections? Was something that's being a motion to.
Move to approve of the change.
Second.
Any conversation about that? All in favor? Any opposed?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Councilmember Kennedy was not present and is abstained, otherwise unanimous approval.
Also, I was
not
there.
Oh,
Abstain also.
2 abstentions. Occasions founding. Also, Councilmember Olson was not present. So,
Unfortunately, there's four members down.
I see there's four members that approved them, and so the minutes have passed. Okay, approval of the July 21st, 2026 payroll claims and warrants number 53892 through 53900. And payroll payable warrants number 30372 through 30383 in the amount of $196,158.00. And claim warrants number 53902 through 53946 in the amount of $288,010.28.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on claims and warrants? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to a public hearing, this is a periodic update, transportation master plan, page 27 in the packet. And since we are providing a public hearing, we're going to put that into the record. At the time is 7:16. So if you want to give us the title,
Excuse me?
if you want to give us the title to open the public hearing, you need to do that.
Maybe you could just say, yeah, it's periodic update for the transportation master plan. Public hearing something.
Oh, this is a resolution. It threw me off because it was a public hearing and I was thinking ordinance.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on then. I'm on our resolution and maybe a little more formal than we needed to be, but here we go. Open that at 7:16. Mr. Webbs?
We have a presentation queued up to share just a few graphics and context, since this is our first master transportation plan for the city of Medical Lake. Wanted to lay a good foundation for council and the public. So tonight's public hearing is an opportunity to review and receive public input on Medical Lake's first coordinated transportation master plan. The plan helps move us from a reactive and incremental transportation improvements towards more of a long range framework that connects safety and growth, mobility, infrastructure investment, and community character. The hearing is part of the city's review and adoption process. And the purpose tonight is to explain what the plan does, summarize some of its major findings and recommendations, and hear from the public and allow council to consider the next step towards adoption. Next slide, please. The plan is it's about more than traffic. It's about whether residents can safely walk to school or bike to parks or reach transit, access downtown businesses or travel to regional jobs, and move around the community in ways that reflect Medical Lake's small town identity. It helps us with being ready for grant opportunities and funding to help meet those needs as well. Next slide, please. The document is both a technical and practical document. It evaluates how the system works today, how growth may affect future conditions. So we looked at different circumstances and how things would develop over time and what impacts that would put on our system. It also identifies where safety concerns exist and where multimodal gaps remain, and what projects should be advanced through the city's transportation improvement program and capital planning, grant opportunities, and partnerships. The important takeaway is that the plan is not driven primarily by a need to widen roads. That capacity is not a concern with our grid pattern of streets in Medical Lake. This is more driven by an opportunity to improve safety and close gaps and preserve future options and build a more complete transportation network in Medical Lake. Next slide. Safety is where the plan becomes really tangible. The data shows that intersections are a primary concern in town, and that allows the city to be very strategic, targeting visibility and control and crossings and long-term intersection design solutions where they're most needed for all modes of travel. Next slide. Speaking of all modes of travel, complete streets doesn't mean that every street's going to look the same. We've talked about that before as well with our complete streets program. It does mean that the city wants to plan streets in context. So downtown and schools and parks and transit stops and commercial corridors and neighborhoods are connected in ways that are safe and practical and appropriate for Medical Lake and its citizens. Medical Lake is a small city, but it's part of a larger regional mobility system. And this plan recognizes both realities. So it's local neighborhood access matters, and so does strong connections to Fairchild, the West Plains region, Spokane County as a whole, and the regional transit network. Plan gives council an ability to make disciplined decisions. It doesn't require the city to build every long-range project today, but it helps ensure that today's land use and frontage and right-of-way and capital planning decisions don't close off options for tomorrow. The plan does not commit the city to every project immediately. It creates a pipeline, so it's really just looking at a variety of things that are needs. And as those opportunities come along, we can pursue the right grants and coordinate with the right partners. We can update our transportation improvement program, and we can make capital investments in a logical sequence towards an ideal end. Adopting a transportation master plan gives Medical Lake a long-range, technically supported and values-based framework for the future mobility decisions. It confirms the city's near-term focus should be safety and connectivity and accessibility and active transportation, access to transit, and grant-ready project development, not just more roads or bigger roads. It also helps council and staff and residents and partner agencies work from the same playbook as we grow and invest in infrastructure and protect the small town character and quality of life that define our community. Last slide. So tonight, we're just interested in hearing any final thoughts you would have on the transportation plan before you consider adopting.
It was a heavy lift, as you see in the resolution, it's attachment A, those pages. So any comments, concerns, questions, conversations we need to have before passing this resolution? Yes, sir.
I just have one clarification on page 44, when it's breaking down the demographics. It says 15.8 have a disability. Is that including from the Eastern State Hospital or just the residents outside of that?
So that would be from the census data. I would have to dig in more on that to understand the dynamic.
Because they're in the map. The map puts the area that includes Eastern State Hospital, also includes Fairchild. I was surprised on the grid,
Yeah.
oh, that's probably why the age is younger, so.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question, because I also noticed in the map, it also encompasses Fairchild. So that we're really in a unique position here in Medical Lake to have a military entity and a state-funded entity that are kind of separate from out of our jurisdiction, really, that are part of the census. So how do we navigate those numbers?
Well, I think it's important. That's a great point. It's important to know that, again, we're part of a larger region and our transportation connections matter. And so there's a lot of great, many of the largest employers in Spokane County around the West Plains and how people move and get to work. And statistics show that the overwhelming majority of people who work on the West Plains don't live on the West Plains. And so the back and forth travel is important. So I think the demographics reflect the fact that there are those impacts to our local network that are from outside of our municipal borders.
Well, I think the question I have is how can we extract for the Medical Lake people that this council and this administration and as you as the city administrator are responsible for, so we can plan accordingly with correct information, so we can make sure that we're servicing.
Census data is available. We can get down to a more finite level if we need to.
Okay, so it is. So we are able to break that down as a city, as city leaders. So
Yes.
we can. Okay.
Yes.
That was just concern when I was reading through this and that, like, are we able to break that down and differentiate? Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, there are fact sheets at Census Bureau that are specific to Medical Lake's boundaries.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we have access to that. Since it wasn't here. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Closing the public hearing then at 7:25. I have to open this up for public comments, as we did announce it as a public hearing. Anyone who would like to comment on the transportation plan? Close the public hearing at 7:25 to be exact. And then anyone online who would like to comment on the transportation plan? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to resolution number 26/827. This is a resolution that City of Medical Lake adopting the transportation master plan as attachment A. Any comments anyone had to that?
I had just, thank you, Mayor, just to say this resolution adopts the city's transportation master plan, establishing the long-range vision and policy framework to guide transportation investments and decision-making throughout Medical Lake. The plan supports a safe, connected, multimodal transportation system. It aligns with their comprehensive plan update and the work that's been going into that. It also provides a roadmap for future capital projects, grant opportunities, and infrastructure improvements, and staff are encouraged by the good work that went into the plan and recommend your approval.
Thank you. Compliments too on, it's easy to read and understand. The maps all looked corrected and in good order, and I didn't find any typos, and that was just beautiful.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I'd move to approve resolution 26-827.
Second.
Any further discussion, council? Okay, call for the vote then. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously with members present. Thank you. We will now move on then. We have no executive session. We'll move on to the rest of the resolutions. Resolution 26/824. This is the Commerce Grant Agreement for the Medford Stormwater Mitigation. Turn to page 28. There's the briefing sheet there. Some you want to give us a lowdown on that?
You bet. This resolution authorizes a $970,000 grant agreement with Washington State Department of Commerce for our Medical Lake stormwater mitigation project. These funds support engineering and environmental review and construction of stormwater treatment improvements designed to reduce runoff that enters into Medical Lake. And that improves water quality and it protects one of our community's most important natural resources. Approval will allow staff to begin project implementation, continue project implementation, and bring future updates with the confidence that we will be reimbursed for those dollars utilized.
I would move to approve this grant for the Medical Lake stormwater mitigation.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further comments or conversations? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's the unanimous. So thank you, council. Yeah, very good. This was a big one. It really is. And this is one we've been working on for a few years now, and to see it actually come to fruition, and really looking forward to seeing how that's going to look at and operate. Beautiful. Resolution 26/825 is the Commerce Grant Agreement for the wastewater treatment plant and UV disinfection. Page 166. Again, a lot of work went into securing these funds, and so appreciative. So you want to brief us on that?
You bet. So this is a more recent appropriation from earlier this year, and very excited to bring the resolution forward to authorize a grant agreement again with the State Department of Commerce, supporting the modernization of the city's wastewater treatment plant and the ultraviolet disinfection system. This project combines $225,000 approximately in state funding with a city match for the same amount to improve the reliability and reduce energy consumption and strengthen regulatory compliance and support future reclaimed water reuse opportunities. The youth council recently authorized work with Esfelt Engineering to make sure that all the right math and preparations are done, and Steve's hard at work finding the right pieces of equipment for us to acquire these dollars and be authorized to purchase that equipment and have it installed.
I'd move to, after reading through, I'd like to move to approve resolution 26/825.
I just have.
So there's a motion let's go ahead and,
I'll
is there a second, and then we'll have some discussion. So we have a second, by Councilman Pritchard, I think, who's hand up first. So, all right, we have a motion and a second on the table, and then a discussion with comments.
I just had a quick question on this. I know that we've been talking about our level for the treatment is higher than most, and we're special.
We are
But-
special.
When we have all this equipment and with our current level, do we assume any extra responsibilities for that, or is that an expectation of us?
So let me try to address that the best I can. We're a 100% beneficial use Class A reclaimed facility, which
Yeah.
is very special.
Special.
Very special. It is really wonderful for a community the size of Medical Lake to have a resource like that. And how we go about that is what we do is highly regulated. How we get there is there's some choice involved. And so like projects like this that build efficiencies and reduce electric consumption actually save us dollars. This particular project is one that I think we got support from our state legislature because it'll reduce the footprint, the demand, the electric demand by using more energy efficient bulbs to do, and it actually will, Steve can tell you a lot more detail. It will actually give you a safer, a cleaner output. And so these are not mandated fixes by any stretch, but we've been pursuing it as an opportunity to build efficiencies so that we can maintain our costs instead of raising those rates. Does that address your question?
Yes, I just know that we assume some other responsibilities for near cities near us, and so I was wondering if this gave us any additional responsibility.
Yeah, no, right now, when it comes to sewer treatment, wastewater treatment, the only things that we serve are the connections inside the city. So any of our other, I mean, I know there's been some conversation about the opportunity of providing wastewater utilities to our friends along the west shore of Silver Lake in their recovery efforts from the Gray Road fire and to for the benefits that can come along with that. But those conversations are still just conversations at this point. We're looking for the right opportunities, but everything at the wastewater treatment plant is simply serving connections inside city limits.
Great.
Thank you.
You bet.
And for newer council members, so this is something we've been working on for about 4 or 5 years now. And that is that we have this fabulous facility, but it has been kind of in a state of deferred maintenance because of those big components have not been replaced. It hasn't been affordable. And so that's why we've gone out to seek grants and appropriations to keep it Class A, and that it can be working at the highest efficiency possible. So we're continuing to invest in the wastewater treatment plant. You'll continue to see investments in the wastewater treatment plant because it's worth investing in. And we have a list of things. If you look at our capital improvement plan, they're all on there. And this was one of them. So anyway, thank you. It was a good question. Yes, sir.
And I know this is important because we're having problems sourcing the existing technology that we have because of the age, since it was the original equipment.
Yes.
So buying
Obsolescence
bulbs
is a
on
problem.
eBay is not the best way to run a city maintenance program.
What?
Our manufacturing parts.
We have squeezed all the juice out of those limits.
Yep.
Yeah. No juice left. So we're getting new juice and we're really excited about that. So those are great questions. We appreciate it. And we like to talk about our plans for the wastewater treatment plant because it is special.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. The members were present. We are moving on to resolution 26-826, which is Spokane County Urban Consortium recertification. This is related to the CDBG VR and HUD funding and other kinds of CDBG funds and HUD funds that could become available. So time for renewal. Then Sunny, I'll let you say anything more about that.
Thank you, Mayor. So this proposed recertification agreement largely continues Medical Lake's longstanding participation in the Spokane County Urban Consortium. It doesn't represent any major changes in the city's obligations. It renews our eligibility to participate in the Community Development Block Grant, and the Home and the Emergency Solutions Grants and Affordable Housing Trust Fund and Homeless Assistance Programs through the year 2029. Participation provides Medical Lake with representation on Spokane County's Housing and Community Development Advisory Committee. Councilmember Pritchard serves on. Yeah. The regional body is responsible for reviewing community development, housing priorities, and making funding recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. This partnership is particularly important, as the mayor mentioned, because as Spokane County prepares to administer the approximately $44 million in CDBG disaster recovery funds that came to Spokane County as a direct result of the Gray and Oregon Road fires. So through the HCDAC, Medical Lake maintains a voice in regional discussions and funding recommendations that help shape recovery and resiliency investments throughout all of Spokane County. The updated agreement primarily reflects routine federal recertification requirements. There is some enhanced compliance language because things change over time and agreements need to reflect those changes. There's recognition of additional housing and homelessness funding programs. Staff does not view these changes as materially altering or the city's role, but rather preserving our access to the significant regional, state, and federal funding opportunities that it provides while maintaining representation in a regional decision-making process, which the consortium does. It brings all of us together, vying for greater resources, and then the HCDAC gets to say where those resources best fit locally versus each independently vying for the funds on their own. So I'll stop talking.
And I would probably add too, it's nice to have representation for the Medical Lake Outreach and also for the food bank.
Yes.
They're annually given money. That's
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any more conversations, questions about that? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm seeing this one, and so I do have a couple questions. Sure. It was kind of confusing for me to get my brain wrapped around why we needed to sign an agreement when we're part of the county.
So that's a great question. The consortium is not a mandated scenario, so we don't have to. We could choose to vie for these resources as Medical Lake versus anyone else in the state for these, or the federal government for these resources. So the consortium is something that the Spokane County region came together with this agreement to say, together our voices can vie for greater resources and then have the ability to determine where those resources are best utilized.
And that's what I kind of got from the research that I did, is that because we're part of this agreement, that they vie for it, they tell us what is best, and we do it. Kind of.
So what I would clarify there is that together they vie for the resources. Those resources come to Spokane County, and then Chad and his work on the Housing and Community Development Advisory Committee, they will rate and score all the requests for those funds and determine what those awards go. So they're not telling us what to do with it. The HCDAC is actually making those recommendations on what to do with those dollars locally.
And I saw that, I mean, because I did read that, and because there's a lot of different areas involved in this. I mean, we're not just talking about recovery, we're talking about affordable housing, which, you know, that's a thing for me. And I'm not against it. I just don't wanna, I'll tell you exactly where I got.
Can I just maybe say one clarifying thing while you're looking for your spot? And that is that grant funds become available for various nonprofits and cities to ask for funding from the HCDAC. So it's a concentrated effort, it's a collaborative effort. And so anytime you're a government, you enter into these agreements like this, it says, yep, we want you to go out and see what money's out there. Those come out, then they're announced in the form of grants. And then folks can apply for those grants, and then the committee there scores those and makes a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, who approves the funding. So that's the the one little missing piece in there that I wanted you to, know.
And I think that that sounds great, but where I get a little bit, I don't know, suspicious is where it says, number 11 says the county and the municipality will not obstruct the implementation of the approved consolidated housing and community development plan and subsequent annual action plans during the period covered by this agreement. And so that seems like we don't have a say. We don't even know what they are yet, but we don't have a say.
Yeah, obstruct the county's plan. It doesn't mean it's our plan.
And it says, and the
And the
municipality.
municipality will not obstruct. The county and the municipality will not obstruct the implementation of approved consolidated housing and community development plan. So I just,
And what I would offer that is that, this is an agreement that we will play by the rules associated with the federal dollars that we're buying for.
I think that's really more, so City of Spokane's not part of this, but City of Spokane Valley is, and there have been in the past situations where some cities thought they deserved it, so it try to change the plan after we voted on it.
Okay, okay. And so then I got a little worried when number 10 is about law enforcement agencies and having jurisdiction on nonviolent civil rights demonstrations. And why is this in here? I mean, there's got to be some background that I'm missing.
Right, and what I can offer to that again is that there are express federal requirements for some of these funding opportunities that things are agreed to in accordance with those regulations and rules. And so most of what this agreement states is, and most of those updates in my experience over the years, is that when a federal requirement is clarified, our agreements get amended to make sure that those requirements are met in the agreement.
I found them a little daunting.
Yeah, and it's also a public meeting, so we do have a lot of people come and speak. Well, not a lot, but some people come and speak. And they can get a little, I mean, it's emotional. I mean,
Sure. Yeah, I can bet because, you know, there's parts of it that I'm the biggest cheerleader, and then there's other parts where I'm like, I just don't want to, it kind of contradicts some other areas that we are trying to gain some control in. But, and then have there been any initiatives are there any planned initiatives? I don't know.
So what I could say is, as a city, Medical Lake often does not qualify for the CDBG dollars because there are income related stipulations, and our demographic is not needy enough to meet the requirements for a lot of those CDBG grant opportunities. But what is really important in the coming years is that those disaster recovery funds are coming through the same mechanism. And those are available to the city of Medical Lake because of the disaster that we suffered, the Gray Road Fire was the impetus of those dollars. And so being able to pursue those, and there is of that $44 million that's available, there are plans, and again, this would all be based on council's approval moving forward, but we have plans for about 27 million of those dollars to provide benefits directly related to fire recovery efforts.
And the money that we did get for recovery, did it come from this?
We have not received any funds from the disaster recovery yet. So they were allocated to the county. The process, the RFP hasn't gone out yet. We have submitted requests for intent. We intend to apply for those dollars for a variety. Right, for infrastructure, water and sewer infrastructure, for RV, overnight accommodations, for temporary housing for families that are displaced due to disaster, for a community center, and the water and sewer along the west shore of Silver Lake. Those are all direct asks related to those DR dollars that they haven't been made
I
available.
will say it can be a little confusing too, because there were some HCVAC grants that came through. That did go to Gray and Oregon Road Fire Recovery, and that was for case management and home building. That is part of that 44 million. It didn't come to the city, nor did it come to any organization from the city. Those two initial awards went to Spokane Region Long-Term Recovery Group. But that's just the very tip of the iceberg, very small amount, but there's more coming. So that those grants are beginning to roll out and will over the next years roll out. So they have years to use this money, but this is just that without the agreement, we wouldn't have access to even ask for the money. So
Well, I thought without the agreement, we would have to ask for it ourselves.
Well,
it's already been awarded to the county. Those dollars have been awarded to the county. So this has already been the ask and seek part's happened. For those dollars have been allocated, and the HUD dollars can only go through a county fund. Though HUD dollars cannot come direct to the city. The lowest level of government HUD dollars can go to are the county. So it's very complicated. But this just gives us a mechanism to ask, doesn't obligate us to ask. But if they come available, we can.
Like, it's unfortunate that all those are in it together.
sure, and I, it's, I think if I was to explain it, if I went to a restaurant with a menu full of items that I have no intention of ordering, but I don't like those items, I'm not gonna order those items anyway, so I'm not really worried about the fact that they're offering those items. And I think that that's how I would look at this consortium. For a lot of these things, and I hear the concern, and I don't disagree. There are some things that's like, I don't like those rules. But those are not dollars we're buying for as medical aid.
So the county can't say, hey, I want to, somewhere in the emergency solutions, I want to give you guys an emergency solution grant without us asking for it.
We wouldn't qualify for it, because we do, we would have to ask for it for one. They don't just, they wouldn't give it. So we would have to apply for it. And those requirements they're spelled out, they're super clear. And we know in advance that we would have a very uphill climb to apply for a lot of those dollars. So, and I don't mean to oversimplify it, but that's just basically, I think.
It's like any grant funding. They don't knock on your door and say, hey, we have money for you. They put out a notice of grant funding opportunity, and then those who want those grants apply. If you don't want them, yeah.
But we have a whole list of grants that we go out and get ourselves.
But we went and sought
But not
those
this- not
grants.
this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we look for those. We hired somebody who looks for those
Yeah.
for us off of our list, and we have to go and compete for those. This is the same thing. The funding opportunity will become available. We'll have medically we qualify for most of it, but when it gets to the ones we do qualify for, we have to compete for those grant fundings.
This is almost all for HUD funding, I think, so we wouldn't qualify direct for it.
Yeah, I would stipulate that we could at times, right? Because like you were mentioning, there's a swath of opportunities in
Right.
here, some with affordable housing and some with infrastructure. And so that infrastructure just has to benefit a certain income range. And we can drill down with census data to a specific area and neighborhood and say that a length of pipe is going to serve these homes with these income levels, and we can make a case for that in those circumstances, but those are very specific and express
And
circumstances.
it does get confusing because when you do the research online about what these programs are and all these acronyms that are all lumped in here together, I mean, it specifically speaks to Spokane County building 22,000 affordable housing units. I mean, and then I look at 10 and 11 and I think, and if we decide that you can't obstruct it, and not that I would want to obstruct it, but I would want to be able to obstruct it if I didn't think it was the best thing for Medical Lake, if that makes any sense.
They can't impose anything on us without, it sounds like they can, but we are still an independent jurisdiction, and they can say, hey, we're gonna come and put that there.
Okay.
So there's a whole process that would include all of you. And it's, there shouldn't be any surprises.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Great question.
Okay, any other questions or concerns then about the funding and resolution 26/8/26?
If I could, Mayor, also,
Yes.
I wanted to talk about the timeline and so that is something that is an unfortunate reality. So the reason that we're asking for your action tonight without giving you the chance to see it and process it a little bit more, the county asked us for our intent to recertify a few weeks back. And I asked some clarifying questions to say, well, what's different? Would you be available to present and share the information with council and address their questions? And they were not available for such activity. But and I asked for the timeline and the process as well, because this has happened to us before where they wanted the recertification, council authorized it. We sent it in and they said, oh, there's some changes and amendments. So we brought it back for, again, those amendments. Council authorized it a second time. There was amendments again.
I think it's.
And so I asked for that process, and July 31st is the date that they need, based on the HUD processes. But by the time it was made aware to us, we meet on the first and third Tuesdays of every month. And by the time our last agenda was set, there was no time to add this topic to it. So this was the first and last time we've had to bring it to your attention.
And thank you, that was very clarifying. But it does say in here that we also agree to future amendments of this. And so, I mean, it just seemed, it just was
For
worth
the
asking.
future
some questions.
amendments part, you have to remember they're beholden to federal funding, which is where these dollars come from to the county. And so the amendments typically are the federal amendments. So anyway, they're like, if we want to use the money, we're gonna have to comply with X, Y, and Z. They'll notify us of what those are. If we ask for the money, if it was awarded and we'd have to comply, then.
Right, well, I mean,
But it's a federal requirement of getting the grant funding, and if we didn't, couldn't comply with that, we would not get the award.
but right,
Yeah.
I think this says failure by either party to adopt any such amendment and to submit such amendment to HUD will void the agreement. So anyway, those are my concerns.
Valid.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay. Any other thoughts, concerns?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion second, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? No. Okay, well, one opposed and, resolution passes. 820 still passes. Make sure I'm on the right notes. Moving into resolution 26/8/28 service agreement, 2026 with General Industries for reclaimed water works main repair. It's something that just came up. Another reason that you haven't been briefed on this is that it was a rather recent urgent matter, so go ahead and let Scott explain that. So if you want to turn to page 192, we can kind of look at that together.
Mayor, council, good to see you all tonight. This repair on this pressure main coming out of the treatment plant's a 10-inch cast iron main. We repaired it 2 years ago. And this leak is in approximately the same spot. So we worked under a Army Corps of Engineers permit. That was a 5-year permit, and we're still able to use that, operate under that until 2027. So our plan is to dig that up. It has dried out since Steve shut the water off to it. We're going to excavate it and figure out the repair. I think the repair, this is a little more money than the last repair. The last one was approximately 18,000. This one, we're going to replace about a 20-foot section of pipe if it needs that to get it. Kind of the last repair, it looked like maybe a excavator had installed that line and pinched it, looked like a thumbprint off of an excavator, and possibly it oblonged that pipe. Maybe the band failed, we just don't know until we get in there. So we'll try to get this done as soon as we can. We'll, as soon as we get this through council here tonight, we'll get this going.
The length of that pipe can make it so you don't have to go back into the wetland again and go through this whole process.
Yes, there.
Yeah, I'd rather just have the section all taken care of instead of piecemeal it.
And I thought the agreements in the contract were written very well and covered us in a lot of areas.
Yes.
Good.
The only question I had was, so the additional work for the high pressure shut off and, in the pressure valve, the PRV. So will that be coming later?
Actually, what was installed were a couple of drives on the system that this won't happen again with a high pressure hit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is an equipment failure at the band, at the original repair, possibly.
Okay, not like a water hammer issue or anything.
No, again, we won't
Maybe.
go till we.
Maybe.
Proof will be in the pudding. Pardon.
Who did the last repair?
General Industries
Okay.
is the last one. They lay down a mat, they're really, they take a lot of concern for the wetlands. They'll lay down a map and then we'll hydro excavate. So there's as small a signature as possible.
Okay. So they did the last one, then they'll do this one, they'll
Yes.
repair it, but possibly
They'll,
soon coming from,
they'll repair this one. Yeah, they did a great job last time.
oh, just that there was a thumb.
They didn't install the line originally.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
But they
Oh,
repaired the last break. And now we have a new break, and we're not exactly sure what that looks like because it's underground. It could be at the last repair or it could be near the last repair. We know it's in the same proximity, but yeah. They did a fantastic job delivering on that repair and we'll learn more, looking at where the fail point came to this demo.
but it could be at a joint. We're just not sure till we get in and look at it again. So that's there.
So out of curiosity, since this is reclaimed water that's going to West Medical, and if you turn it off, where's this water stored? Obviously, if you turn it off, it's not flowing. It's gotta be
Yeah, it's
backing
a
up
good
someplace.
question. So there are two discharge points, from our wastewater treatment plant. One is, Deep Creek. We are mandated to have a certain amount of our reclaimed, water go to Deep Creek and then the remainder gets pumped to West Medical Lake. So during these times, it's all going to Deep Creek.
We do use it for Shepherd Field as well. Reclaim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Purple pipe.
yes.
Anything further, council? All right, entertain a motion then.
Move to approve, resolution 26/8/28.
Okay.
Still second.
A motion in a second from Councilmember Kennedy. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck on your work. We hope that goes well. Ordinance is the second read of ordinance 1147 concerning specialized housing. Page 203, if my eyes aren't deceiving me. So turning there, you will have a read in the record then, and what is this title, please?
Yeah, thank you, the Mayor. City of Medical Lake, Spokane County, Washington, ordinance number 1147. An ordinance of the City of Medical Lake, Washington relating to amendments to Title 19 of the municipal code regarding housing for individuals or families who are homeless or in imminent risk of being homeless.
Thank you. Sandy, anything you want to brief us on that?
Yes.
Here we are for the second read.
Yeah, for some additional context, ordinance 1147 amends the Medical Lake Municipal Code to address emergency housing, emergency shelters, transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing and certain housing activities conducted by religious organizations. Now, these amendments are primarily driven by changes in Washington state law that we've discussed that require cities to accommodate these housing types and allow specific housing related activities. While the city is required to allow these uses, this ordinance is important because it establishes local development standards and zoning provisions and operational requirements and review processes that provide clarity for property owners and service providers and neighbors and staff. So rather than leaving these uses unaddressed in the code, the ordinance is meant to create a local framework that defines where these housing types may be located and identifies when conditional use review is required. It establishes requirements for religious organizations hosting temporary housing or safe parking programs, and it incorporates the state required affordable housing density provisions. So in short, the ordinance allows Medical Lake to maintain as much local control as possible while complying with the state mandates. And it ensures that housing types are accommodated in a manner that's consistent with community expectations and public safety and the city's long-term plan.
Thank you. Any comments? Yes, Ms. Rhea, go ahead.
Sunny, thank you for saying that last part, because I think that's how this ordinance should have been introduced. And it was not. So, I do appreciate you saying that. Now, I would have liked to have maybe a little better understanding of what those things we were putting in there to address that would protect our city from being overrun, which is, you know, maybe not probable, but could be.
Sure.
But that's how it should have been introduced. Thank you.
And I also agree with her woman's comments too. I hate it when the state mandates to us how we're supposed to manage our local community and whatnot. And the way you explained that kind of helps that we're trying to mitigate the state's power over us a little bit.
Yeah.
As we can, yeah.
And I would offer that it is an ill-fated attempt. It seems like an ill-fated attempt. It's what we can do with our local municipal code to combat it. But I'd say that a robust legislative affairs approach to legislators are elected officials like you, and your voice as elected officials, in my experience, carries great weight with those state legislators. So if they can hear from you the distaste that you have for them telling you how to legislate locally, that carries a lot more weight than any other effort of trying to get it to change. So, and then the other side of it is that our legislative priorities tend to be growing as how we fix the poor legislation from previous sessions. And so we'll just continue that work. But I think all the pieces together is our hope that we can best protect the interests of our local citizens with the local elected leaders that have been given the confidence to set that direction and policy at the local level.
Ms. Wilbur.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think our city administrator was very diplomatic and appropriate in saying the robust presentation of such an ordinance to be passed down. I believe this was initially meant to be a grassroots coming from the cities on upward, but they decided to grab the ordinance by the horns, as it were, and either in their own hubris or their lack of faith in city officials and council members and city administrators and our own governance, like our esteemed Madam Mayor, into implementing policies that could tend to our own homeless individuals in a very humane and appropriate way is, in my opinion, offensive. So regardless that we have to approve this in order to put up what rails that we can, I will approve under protest and make my opinions known to our board legislators of this great state of Washington. I just want to get that on the record.
Is that your motion to approve?
That is my motion. to
Okay,
approve.
thank you. Is there a second?
Second,
All right, any further conversation?
I would just like to say that not everybody can live in the city of Medical Lake that has a strong community and family and religious background already. So like, we don't have the same issues that most other places have. We're very special, and I feel very thankful that we have such a strong community.
Yeah.
That is lacking in many places.
Yeah,
That's true.
It's true.
any further comments or?
Sure, I don't like to be pushed into a corner either. So that's my protest.
I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yes.
We're trying to exercise all the control that we can, which is very small. And like I said, we'll be in Olympia. And we're going to continue to work with the Association of Washington Cities. We're not the only city who is offended by this, but yet we must exercise what small control we have. So anyway, I appreciate council. I know that we almost always land on the same page, and it's just such a great thing, such good council. So, all right. Anyway, we have a motion and a second on the table. If there's no further discussion, then I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, we have one opposed, Councilmember Ray Abbott. All right, motion, ordinance 1147 passes, with a majority vote of the council. Second read of ordinance 1149 concerning transportation, turning to page 213.
For the last time.
Oh, excuse me, can we read that into the record, the title?
Sorry, guys, Sarah, City of Medical Lake, Spokane County, Washington, ordinance number 1149. An ordinance of the City of Medical Lake, Washington, relating to amendments to titles 2, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, and 19 of the Medical Lake Municipal Code regarding parking, concurrency, private streets, planned unit developments, and the commute trip reduction plan.
Thank you. Mr.
It
Weathers.
was impressive, all in one breath. So ordinance 1149 is a housekeeping and modernization update to several sections of the Medical Lake Municipal Code, as was just spelled out. The ordinance consolidates and reorganizes existing regulations into a more clear framework. It creates dedicated chapters for transportation and utility concurrency review. It updates parking standards to better align with current development patterns and state law. And it removes obsolete or redundant code provisions. So we tried to accomplish quite a bit in this work. Overall, the ordinance improves the organization and usability and effectiveness of the city's development regulations while ensuring consistency with our comprehensive plan and the capital improvement plan. And most importantly, from the state's perspective, the Growth Management Act requirements. A key component of this ordinance is the establishment of a comprehensive concurrency review process that ensures that transportation and water and sewer and stormwater facilities are available and adequate when development occurs. That's really important. We don't want to lose service because we didn't plan ahead. The amendments also modernize parking requirements and by reducing unnecessary parking mandates in some situations and establishing bicycle parking standards and supporting walkable development patterns and eliminating minimum parking requirements in the central business district, which all fit with the context of City of Medical Lake. I'm happy to address any questions if you have them.
Well, I was intrigued in your update here that down there on the almost the last paragraph, there's no more than 0.25 parking spaces can be required per sleeping room. So you need 4 sleeping rooms to get 1 parking place?
In that particular, is it referencing multifamily?
It just says the RCW 36-70.
The adult
Yeah,
family
go back,
homes.
go back.
Yeah, the adult.
Require, you can always put more in, you just can't require more. And that's co-living housing, so that's, some housing types that you will find now have maybe 3 or 4 rooms that are rented, that have a common kitchen, common living area, at least in some college campuses often. But anyway, it's talking about you can't require them to have 4 parking spaces per se if it's a house. They're saying that no more than 0.25 per sleeping room for co-living housing. So there's 4 rooms. You cannot require them to have more than 1 parking space, but they can have more than 1 parking space. That makes sense.
Right, it's basically saying that,
Well, I'm just saying if they only had 1 sleeping room, all they get is 0.25. So what part of your car do you put in the 0.25?
They can put in a full parking space, but they don't have to. If they ride a bicycle, maybe they don't have to.
It also says,
New development.
or per conditional review.
Yeah.
Again, those are, you see the RCW.
I see the RCW.
Yes, and so that makes so much sense for us, once again, so.
all right, move to approve ordinance 1149.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimous. Mr. President, thank you so much. No emergency ordinances.
Mr. Z.
Oh, he already did. He read it at the beginning.
Oh,
Yeah. So passage of both ordinances, number 12, emergency ordinances, I see none. Upcoming agenda items, none noted. If you have agenda items, I could those that you mentioned, as we'll be bringing back the fireworks for sure. Anything else, Mr. Squash?
I'd like to see either get a timeline or where we're at on the wayfinding, the signage. I know we were trying to interface with EWU about a recommendations or something like that.
Yeah, they did give us some, they gave us some of an outreach plan, a public outreach plan, public involvement plan, engagement plan. There's the word. And yeah, and our intent is to try to work that, but with all the things happening, it's, we hope to initiate that still this year, and get that ball rolling.
We've noted that. We'll be sure that comes back at the first opportunity. Anything else, council on your mind that, if you can give it later, and you know the man to contact, Mr. Redders, and we'll be happy to get you what you're looking for. Last opportunity then for interested citizen comment, Mr. Art Holmes, go ahead and come forward. 3 full minutes remaining, and then I think we see your hand, Ms. Henderson, will come back to you.
So Art Coolibert, 405 Fellows, all this talk about the reclaimed water that goes into Deep Creek. I'm assuming the city is ignoring this, still ignoring the state mandate that we chill it for the salmon recovery that want to swim up Deep Creek.
Thank you for your excellent memory. And then online we have Miss Lonnie Henderson. Go ahead and let's make sure we can hear you okay. Sometimes I know you can hear us well because I've listened to the recordings, but we may not hear you. Go ahead.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hi, Lonnie Henderson, resident Medical Lake. We missed quite a bit at the beginning of the meeting because of the audio being intermittent. And I think what we missed was city administrator's report and Mr. Ronhold's report. And so I don't know if they can briefly summarize what was said about that, number one. And number two, since the item number 6 has been postponed, do we have a new date that you're planning to bring that back?
Yes, so the information that was in the packet was reviewed and there was a statement made. And we will be bringing that back probably at the next meeting. So you can expect to see not just the next meeting, but probably over the next months, we will be bringing back. First of all, we need to meet with legal and the sheriff and make sure that we're bringing back all of the options to council. And so you can expect to start that conversation next meeting. We will start that next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And then if we could get just a brief summary then for those online and for the recording as well. Mr. Withers on your report, and then also Mr. Ronholt on your report, please.
Sure. So I just gave a quick update on some of our capital improvements that are underway. The Coney Island Park Shoreline Stabilization and Dock Project work has begun. Pilings are being installed through the meeting, and we're excited to see that project move forward. Our emergency backup generator projects were briefed a few times, operational at both Lynn and Craig Road Wells. And City Hall and the maintenance shop, the generators have been installed. They'll be hooked up and tested next week. And the wastewater treatment plants is in route. It's being delivered. Should arrive next week. Also give an update on the commercial kitchen project that staff has been focused on, consultant onboarding and planning for the management framework of the kitchen, and that the hood is nearly installed and plans are being made to complete the remaining rough-in and final finished construction And that we will not likely hit our original August 1st deadline, but we will continue to work on that. And then I mentioned the upcoming events, July 23rd Planning Commission meeting. That's this Thursday, 5:30 p.m. at City Hall, and then July 30th Linger at the Lake concert at Waterfront Park.
Good.
And then, for the grants updates, I just noted that there were no new opportunities or applications or awards of grants. However, in July, Glenn Horton, Parks and Rec Director, just submitted the 2 RCO grant applications for the Fox Hollow Trail resurfacing and the Waterfront Master Plan. And that there was some progress made on some of the grants that we have existing, including the groundwater study grant that is about to close, and some progress on the FEMA generator project. Otherwise, not much of note.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, thank you. Okay, any other citizen comment at this time? Going on the last call here. With that, entertain a motion to the
Move to conclude.
Second.
in favor.
All right.
There's no discussion, I'm assuming.
Whoa,
Any
well,
opposed?
I know.
Meeting is concluded. Thank you all.